Hello again and welcome back. This is part 5 of my experience with the Fae. So we had just met my fairies friend, a very, very close friend of his, and um, and after having experienced that dream and that experience with my friend who is a psychic medium, and after that he had introduced me to more. As I said, when I would meditate, I'd start to see flashes of different types of forest beings. I saw what looked like little hamsters with fairy wings, which I had never seen before. Some beautiful people, a beautiful woman with black hair I saw. And I saw tree people as well, like a man's face inside of a tree, with limbs and things. I'd never seen that before. Some of my friends asked, oh, you mean like from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, like Groot? And I said, no, it didn't look like Groot. It was like seeing a wooden man's face. And he had a nose that looked like a human man, but with the skin of bark. It wasn't blocky, not blocky at all. It looked very different from that. And they never really spoke too much. They were just very stoic, just wanted to show themselves. I saw very bright-eyed beings, flashes of images like that, and a lot of them have such fluffy hair. It's so cute. It's so beautiful, really. As I mentioned before, he had shown me 2 beautiful little girls. They were his daughters, and he wanted me to kind of understand that and be a part of their lives. And I was very happy to do that. Very, very happy to do that. I feel very close to them. And so after that, I saw something, and it startled me, as I said. It was an old ruin, and in this kind of meditative state, I saw this old ruin. It was at night. There were fires burning. There's music and dancing, and I saw my fairy friend, male fairy friend, and he was there, and he was looking at me, and I had a tail, a mermaid tail, mermaid fin, and I remember asking him, why do I look like this? And he said, because this is how we see you. This is how we see you. We see you like this. And I said, oh, okay. And then I saw something that startled me because of my upbringing. I saw a man, and he had a man's body, and he had a goat head, a goat's head with a man's body, and he was bringing, like, he did this, and then he went like that, like he was bringing us together, And as soon as I saw the image of him, I snapped out of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, what was that? That's scary. What's happening? Like, that's freaky. I was very startled, very scared. I was very startled. And I remember my fairy, he said, please don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. That's, he is not a harmful being. He's not harmful. He's not here to hurt you. And I was just like, what is this, And suddenly, in my mind, I heard this name pop out. And mind you, I don't watch very many movies or anything like that, so I had no concept of what this meant or anything of that nature. The only thing I'd really come to learn more about were Egyptian things, because that's where my heart led me. But suddenly this name popped in my head out of nowhere. The name Pan, Pan. And I said, don't you love it when sounds kind of confirm things for you? Pan. And I said, Pan? I said, who is Pan? What is Pan? Who is Pan? So I started doing some research, and I learned that he is an ancient Greek forest spirit, forest god-like spirit, and very close to nature and very close to the Fae. And the way this particular colony of fairies showed this relationship to me was almost like he was like a father or a grandfather to them, and they loved and respected him. But his name was Pan. And I started learning more about it, and I said, he's related to the forest. That's why you guys are connected to him, and that's why he was there, showing me, hey, bringing your kind together. And that's because that's what he did. He kind of went like this, and then he went like this to kind of show, hey, bringing together. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm sorry that I was startled by him, and it was like, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay. Don't be afraid, it's okay. And so I discovered God Pan. I don't have many interactions with God Pan, but I do have a little place, a little tiny place, kind of just for him, for the Fae, kind of showing my respect in that way. And to me, I feel very much like a grandpa kind of spirit from him. Just a very like, oh goodness, oh that's all right, or little one, it's gonna be okay kind of behavior. Very grandpa when I do interact. And again, I don't interact with him very often, but sometimes. And so that was the kind of energy I felt from him. And I learned his name. I learned who it was. And after I learned who it was and what he was all about, I felt a little better. I still had a lot to learn as far as all of that goes. So I learned that, and I didn't feel frightened anymore. So I through him, I encountered forest elders, that actually showed themselves while I was having a psychic medium session with Christina. She said, I was just sitting on the couch, and she said, they are all around you. And her dogs wouldn't stop barking. And she said that the forest spirits were apologizing. She said because the reason they were barking, I guess they don't usually bark as much as they were rather. And she said the reason they're barking is because there's so many forest spirits, nature spirits here. And she said, they're all around you right now. She said, they're in front of you. And she said, there's an older man who's coming to you. And she said, he gave you a kiss on the head. She said, he's happy that you're back, that you're home. And he said, of the elders, if you ever need us, we'll be there for you. Call on us. Very gentle. And she said something really cool. She said, they're humming. There's like a tune that they're humming. And she tried to hum a little bit of it, but she was like, I can't. Like, it's like a, they're humming this sound. So she hummed a little bit of the tune for me. And she said, it's really humbling. And it was a very impressive day that I got to experience that. And I thanked them very much. I thanked them. And yeah, that was a really cool experience. That day, it was so, again, when I experience these feelings, it's overwhelming amounts of love. A lot of love. So much love. Um, it's incredible. So I got to meet elders as well, forest elders of the Fae. So that was a cool experience to have during that session. Um, and so as I grew closer um, to the Fae, they and of course, the two little girls, they are twins and they're beautiful. And I have read stories for them each night. And in fact, after this, I'm probably going to read a story for them as well tonight. So I read stories for them, and it's kind of become a community thing. So I always do that. And I've, been encouraged to look at flower magic and, any kind of stories about Fae they love. Um, and they also guided me they impressed upon me to become a vegetarian. They kind of helped guide me toward that slowly, just, the fact that you are an empath and you are, your body, and they kind of helped me understand that. They said, the closer you get, the higher you grow. We encourage you to please be a vegetarian. And since I don't cook that much anyway, and I'm not, I wasn't crazy about meat or anything of that nature, I said, okay. I said, makes, perfect sense to me. I love animals, and I don't cook anyway, so I'm not really missing out. And I don't mind veggie meats or tofu or anything like that. I don't mind. And so I decided, I agree. I said, that makes sense to me. I'll be a vegetarian. Okay. They never forced it. They encouraged it. And it made sense for me. So I just was like, sounds good. So to this day, I'm a vegetarian. But I still eat eggs and cheese. And I remember asking my fairy about that. I said, well, what about eggs? I said, and the way he explained it, he said, chickens will always lay eggs. And then I understood, if there's no rooster to, fertilize that egg, it's literally a little bag of protein that gets spit out. Just like for girls. Like, not girls, but human girls. We kind of have the same thing, except for it doesn't come out in a giant calcium shell thing, thank goodness. But it's the same concept. There's no life there. There's nutrients for life to grow, but there's no life in it. It's just the package for it. But without fertilization, there it is. But I do try very hard to be very aware of what kind of eggs I buy. So I only buy if I buy it, very rarely I buy them. But if I do, it is like free roam eggs. They actually don't stick them in a tiny square. They actually go out in the grass and they eat food and they wander around. They have large acres and they keep the chickens, they let them go. So they're more expensive, but if it meant that they're able to enjoy life more and stuff like that, I support that. So that's the kind of eggs that I do buy if I buy eggs. I very rarely buy eggs. So, but yes, I think the most recent time I spoke to Christina about my fairy friend, she said that he was asking for a evening of watching a movie with strawberries. And I've kind of established that we are to stay friends and not go any further than that we are friends, close friends. And he has acknowledged that, even though I say he's acknowledged that. I'll just say he understands that. I won't say that he's completely acknowledged that because he's sneaky. She said, yeah, he just wants a night, to watch a movie and have some strawberries, she said. And I looked, I was looking, like, wait a minute. And I said to her, I said, that kind of sounds like a date night. And he knows better. He knows that we're, that's not allowed. And she said, he's looking at me with a really clever grin, like, and she's like, and he's winking at me. And I was like, I told you. And she was like, he's sneaky. And I said, I know, I live with him. Yes, he's sneaky. I know. So one more experience before I go. It's an experience with God Pan. I had asked if I could give him a thank you and an I'm sorry for thinking or getting scared of you that day kind of offering. And my fairy, he said, yes, you can. He said, if you get a small piece of cake or something and you leave it in nature, that's fine. So I bought a sweet piece of cake with icing on it. And I was driving on the road, and there was this area, it was, dirt, so I kind of pulled off on the road, and I just started walking a little bit into kind of a woodsy area, and I was like, where do I put it? I don't know where to put it. Gosh. So I said, it doesn't matter, it's okay. And I leaned down, and as I'm putting the little piece of cake down, I literally see a cloven hoof print in the mud 2 inches from where I'm about to put this little piece of cake down, like right there. And I was like, there were no other tracks. I looked around for other tracks. No other tracks. It was just this singular little boop right there. That's confirmation. So I said, okay. I said, thank you, leaving this here for you. Thank you. And I left it there, and I went home. Cool. Yeah, there were no other tracks around. I even looked, and that was the only little cloven hoof little right there. And I was like, holy cow. So that ends it for my experiences with the Fae. And again, thank you for joining me. If you have experiences or stories of your own with the Fae, I invite you to tell me about them. And please feel free to leave comments down below. If you wish to follow me on Facebook, I always leave that link in the description below. Please feel free. I would love to hear your stories that you have to tell. Each of us have different and unique experiences within the spiritual realm and with these very special beings. So please feel free to share your story. I would love to hear from you. That's it. And I thank you all for being here with me again. Please take care of yourselves and each other. Blessings to you. And goodbye for now.